You know, even after all these years and all the Dark Souls lore I've become acquainted with, still not entirely sure what the Raven's all about. Not gonna lie, he's just a big old Raven, he's just hanging out over there. Fine by me, I guess. We got ourselves the Firelink Shrine bonfire. This is going to be effectively our main hub world for all that Dark Souls has a hub world. We got a whole lot more options here as well. Our Attune Magic, which we actually already had. Change Covenants here, but we only have the Way of Light right now. You wouldn't even have that if you're not just starting as a cleric. Level up is obviously the most sort of intriguing and probably most powerful option that we have at our disposal right now. I'm not going to worry about leveling just yet because I kind of want to save these souls for a shop that comes up a little bit later. So for right now, we're just going to go ahead and see what this guy's all about. He's got a bit of a somber face, but he does have like a Mona Lisa-esque smile, so there's something to him. Let's see what he's got.
What do we have here? You must be a new arrival.
What clued you off? The fact that I got dropped off by a giant fucking bird?
The undead, right? Well, you're not the first, but there's no celebration here. You'd have done better to rot in the undead asylum.
Rude.
But too late now.
I've done enough rotting. Can't you see my
Since
amazing
you're here,
complexion?
Let me help you out. There are actually 2 bells of awakening.
Record
One's
scratch.
above in the undead church. The other is far, far below, in the ruins at the base of Blight Town.
Well, neither of those places sound very nice.
Something happened. Brilliant, right? Not much to go on, but I have a feeling that won't stop you. So, off you go. It is why you came, isn't it? To this accursed land of the undead?
And what about you? You're just gonna sit here in your metal pajamas and rust away? I don't think so, mister. Tell me more.
Your face.
Okay, I didn't come all this way just to have you insult me, asshole. Not with your haircut. Get out of here, man. What is this guy's friggin' problem?
What? Restoring your humanity?
Now that sounds something I'm interested in.
Ways to go about it. Collected bit by bit from corpses. Or you can butter up a cleric.
Do you not see this talisman in my hand, Buster?
And the quickest way, although I never do it, is to kill a healthy undead and pillage
You mean someone like you?
humanity. Coveting thy neighbor is only human, after all.
Get out of here, man. Whatever. I'm not dealing with him any longer. He's just a bit of an asshole. Got 3 humanity here. Humanity's a bit complicated of a concept at first blush anyway. It's actually not too complicated overall, but we'll cross that bridge as we need to. We don't have to worry about it for right now. What I will worry about is pillaging Firelink Shrine for all that it's worth to start off with here. Can I not like go through? Yeah, I thought I could like go through one of these archers. Go pick up these fire bombs real quick. I am a bit of a hoarder when it comes to Dark Souls. Like, even if I know that there's an item somewhere, even if I know that I'm never going to use that item, I have to go out of my way to get it just to, like, scratch that itch. So, pardon me if I'm a bit of a completionist, but, I mean, that's, in Dark Souls, that's a bit of a tall order, too, just because it's such a hard game and at certain points, but hopefully I can manage here. Also got this fella. Got the same haircut as I had when I was about 6 years old. How are you doing?
Hello there. I believe we are not acquainted. I am Petrus of Firelink. Have you business with us?
Petrus of
If not,
Thorland.
I prefer to keep a distance.
What a title.
If possible.
Wait, dude. Come on, man. There's like literally 2 people in this entire shrine, and you're gonna shun both of them up in this little cubby?
Hello there. I realize that I have requested that we retain our distance. But I also
mean like
want
this?
you to know that it is not meant in ill will. Here, take this. As a token of peace.
Ooh, what's he gonna give me?
Go ahead. It's for you.
Free humanity? Nope. Copper coin. Literally worthless. Absolutely. Let me take a friggin' look at this. Oh boy. Money. Copper coin of old man McLoif? McLoif? What the hell kind of name is McLoif? Excuse me? God of medicine and drink. Even coins of great value in the world of men have little value in Lordran, or the accepting courage to his souls. Those who dream of returning to the outside world are fond of carrying these around. Poor, hopeless souls. Got anything else for me, Mr.
my.
Thorland?
You again? Oh, I know. How about this? I have to await my companions here anyway. So what if I were to teach
Companions,
you
you
some
say?
miracles? Would
Oh,
that
miracles?
please
Oh,
you?
that's much more my speed, dude. Absolutely.
Very well.
Started as a cleric for a
And
reason, after all.
A covenant with the gods.
Nah, man, I'm already on that way of white shit. Don't worry about it.
Let me share my miracles. Only their ultimate effectiveness will be determined by your efforts and your faith.
All right. I mean, he's not lying about that. It's literally determines like what you can cast by your level of faith. So we can learn gesture as well for the ultimate of meme gestures in the form of shrug. That's a pretty good one. I'll show that off in a second. Got anything else to talk about though?
My companions are Milady and her young knights.
Ooh.
She is young, but burdened by an undead mission.
Sounds much like
We are
me,
her
if I'm being
defenses
perfectly honest.
To keep her from harm.
Hey, can I hear a little more about this lady?
Regrettably, I cannot share that with
Well,
you.
why not? Are we not friends? We're part of the same covenant now.
Perhaps if you show your
Excuse me, I
faith.
never agreed to be your pupil, though. Show your dedication. Sure, why not? I can spare 200.
Very well. I can surely tell you, of all people.
Oh, now we're all
undead
buddy-buddy.
Clerics are given a mission to seek kindling.
Yeah, of course I
Kindling
knew
is
that. I'm a
the art
cleric.
of
Like,
feeding
what do you
bonfires
take me for?
with humanity. Through kindling, we shall one day be granted magnificent powers.
I mean, it's really just to improve the amount of uses you get out of your Estus Flask, but sure, magnificent powers, whatever. We can purchase things here. Some extra talismans you can buy, but I think our canvas talisman that we started with is actually probably better than both of these in the long run. Also has a bunch of miracles he sells. The only one we can buy is Seek Guidance, which is actually kind of a trash miracle anyway. It lets you see more of the orange guidance messages on the ground. So if you really need some extra help, then that can be useful, but I'm not probably not going to need it. Also, a bit of a spoiler, but this guy is extremely ripping us off with the cost of these miracles. You can see like 4,000 for like most of these, 10,000 for this great heal excerpt. If you wait a little while to buy these miracles from a different source, then you'll save quite a lot of souls, is all I'm gonna say. So thank you, but no thank you,
Come again.
Petrus.
The effectiveness of the teachings depend upon your faith.
Yeah, whatever. Way of White. Woo, let's go. Why don't you go pray to old man McLoif, you friggin' con artist. Let's head up here. I think there was another item up this way. Man, bells ringing left, right, and center. What that actually is, the bells ring in the background, is you may recall that we've been told about these 2 bells of awakening that we have to ring. By the way, you won't die if you drop down here. It's all good. It's a secret passage after all. But anytime someone else in one of their own worlds who's also playing Dark Souls rings the bell of awakening, or one of the bells of awakening, the bell chimes in the background like that. So that's actually one of the cooler aspects of this game. Part of the big interconnected sort of universe of all Dark Souls players. It's a really sort of unique... It's got a unique multiplayer aspect to it, is all I'm saying. The Morning Star. You also get a free talisman out of this, so you don't even have to buy one from Petrus if you don't want to. And if you didn't start with one as a cleric. But I mean, if you really are going to end up casting faith spells, you're probably going to have started as a cleric. The Cracked Red Eye Orb allows us to invade other people's worlds and try and hunt them down and kill them for whatever that's worth. But I'm not going to worry about that too much right now. We also did get some Homeward Bones, which I'm going to go ahead and actually equip right now, just because they can be useful to warp back to the bonfire in a pinch. Also, this Morning Star, very similar sort of in moveset and design to the mace. It does do extra bleeding damage, which can be tempting against certain foes, so I might swap back and forth between these from time to time. For now, I'm going to stick with the mace. Those who were there for my initial playthrough of Dark Souls on stream many years back may remember the legacy of the Morning Star, which does live on in my mind. Don't you worry, the Morning Star is a very sacred weapon. We will never forget what it did for us all those years ago. These talismans that we got, by the way, the Lloyd's talismans are, you can throw them at other players or other enemies to prevent them from using Estus. I'm gonna grab this and get the hell out of Dodge, because these skeletons, you don't want to mess with these guys. I'm actually gonna book it like all the way back to the bonfire here. You might think, based on like your experience in other games, that skeletons are, you know, they're like skeletons. They're little basic mobs that you can just crush them all day long. No, not in Dark Souls. You see a skeleton, you run. This is all I'm telling you. I mean, they're not that bad for me now that I'm more experienced with the game, but if this is your first time playing, don't go to that graveyard. You will get absolutely massacred. However, there are a few items within that graveyard that could be useful. I'm not going to make any sort of run for them, just because I don't feel like I need to, but the the binoculars that can actually be one of your starting gifts in the character select for character creation is in that graveyard. So I would recommend against choosing that as your starting gift, because you can just get it if you do a little bit of a suicide run in there. Speaking of suicide runs, I'm not going to be going through the graveyard, but I will be going through another area that I don't know if a whole lot of people go through on their very first, or as their very first sort of errand in Dark Souls. But I think it's a worthwhile thing to do, because if you come down here, beneath the bonfire, you'll actually encounter this lady locked up in her cell. You might actually recognize her from the opening cutscene. This is, I think, Anastasia of Astora. She is a Firekeeper, and she has the ability to reinforce our Estus Flask if we have a Firekeeper soul. And there's a whole lot of lore that goes on with that. Obviously, she can't talk, unfortunately. So, what reinforcing the Estus Flask actually does is it creates, or it allows us to heal a little bit more per Estus. We can get extra uses of our Estus Flask by kindling bonfires, and then we can increase the usage of it by powering it up at a Firekeeper, who are the ones that keep the fires lit, as you might be able to deduce. So if you ever end up accidentally killing a Firekeeper, then, or killing on purpose even a Firekeeper, then the bonfire that they're tied to will no longer be able to be used. So be very wary of that. So I'm headed all the way down here into the New Londo Ruins, which it's going to be quite a while before we actually go through this place proper. Just got a bunch of these random hollows here. They're minding their own business, just chilling. Especially this guy. Oh my god.
Paint me like one of your French hollows, why don't you?
Imminent Ghost? Excuse me? Oh, I don't want to be spooked. It's not even close to October. If you head up this way, there is this door over here, which is locked. If you started as a thief or picked this master key as your starting gift, you can actually open that door, and opens up all kind of crazy sequence breaking and speed running strategies. This dude is going all in on praying to this pot. I don't know, does he think Old Man McLoif is in there? Sorry to burst your bubble, my dude. And this guy's just praying to his friend. That's just a nice little wholesome moment right there. Courtesy of Dark Souls. You don't get a whole lot of those in this game. The S-Stock right there, that's more of a dexterity-based weapon. Don't necessarily frown on dexterity myself. In fact, some of the weapons I prefer to use are in the Halberd class. I'm so sorry. That was kind of collateral damage. I didn't mean that, but the yeah, Halberds I really like, so I'll end up leveling up a little bit of dex in order to actually get to use those. Because I think right now as a cleric we only start with 8 dex. So yeah, I'm going to make a bit of a quick run. I'm actually going to get this Homeward Bone ready, because there are these ghost enemies, imminent ghost indeed. We don't want to worry about them. You can only actually do damage to them if you have one of those transient curses that we picked up, like on the go, if you have that on your person. Or if you've used one, I should say. Let's get the hell out of here. We got that Firekeeper soul, that's all I came for, man. So we can power up our Estus Flask and be one step ahead of the competition already. But yeah, that transient curse does allow you to hit the ghosts, otherwise your armor and shields won't do anything against their attacks, and your weapons will not do anything to their incorporeal bodies, so don't even concern yourself with that. That's for much later in the game. But we do now have our Estus Flask +1. Normally you would not get this if you follow the intended route through the game. Air quotes intended, very much so, because I mean you can go so many different ways at the start of this game. You would normally not get a Firekeeper soul for quite a while, though. Speaking of the intended routes, though, since we're pretty much effectively done now with all the little secrets we can divine in Firelink Shrine, let's get on up here. Oh my gosh, he's a little more adroit than I expected. This random hollow. Get out of here, man. The mace is actually a very good starting weapon, in my opinion. It's like, it's got a lot. It's a slow weapon, as most strength-based weapons are, or weapons that sort of scale off of strength anyway. But you get out of here. I kicked him and then, oh my god, that's funny. The kick is actually pretty useful for like breaking enemies' guards and stuff. Yeah, the mace, it's slow as most strength weapons are, but it does a lot of damage, and it can break an enemy's poise, which is sort of their ability to stand up and like keep attacking. It can pretty decimate that pretty quickly. Oh gosh, got me with a little side swipe there. I can applaud that. Alright, there was actually an item down this way as well. Not only right here, but also across the bridge there, which we have to be a little careful as we go for, because Dark Souls is not well known for its platforming mechanics. It's not a It's not meant to be a platform in any sense of the word, but they do make you do a little bit of platforming, which is a little scary from time to time. Ring of Sacrifice can be an extremely useful item. If you equip that, you actually don't lose any of your souls or humanity upon death, so it's a good thing to keep in mind. Okay, it's always a bit of a sketchy jump. It does, if you die and you do lose your souls and humanity and you have to go and try to collect them, if you put on a Ring of Sacrifice, then even if you die before you get to your souls and humanity and reclaim them, they will not disappear from the ground as they otherwise would if you died on the way there. So that's just kind of how Dark Souls work. If you don't know like how the mechanics of dying in Dark Souls work, probably none of what I just said made any sort of sense, but hopefully we'll... I mean, I'm certain to die at some point in this, so I'm sure you'll see that mechanic in action eventually. Speaking of death mechanics, we also have a bloodstain here. See how this poor soul died. Or not. Sometimes you touch these bloodstains and just nothing happens, so I don't know. Normally that's there to indicate that another player has died, and you can sort of check it and see... Yeah, you can like we can follow this guy, see how he died, the poor bastard. I can take a guess. That's not what my guess was, but I mean, serves you right if you don't remember that there's just a big old drop right there. They really should install a safety railing, but this is Dark Souls after all. No safety railings around here. What do you take us for? Kirby's Epic Yarn? Here we are in Undead Burg, which is the official, unofficial, like, first area of the game, past the Undead Asylum and Firelink Shrine, obviously. There's a more tutorial than anything. This is where the true experience begins. Usually. There's obviously a lot of different speedrunning tactics you could take, especially if you take the Master Key and start going nuts down in New Londo Ruins. But I'm fine to sort of take not necessarily the most straight path through the game that we could, but I'll start on the straight and narrow regardless. There is a little bit of a hidden mini area down this way if you bust through the barrels. There are a lot of different areas to explore in Dark Souls, as you'll come to see. They had a lot of areas very well. Even some of the more mandatory areas can be pretty tough to find from time to time. It's a very cryptic game. They don't tell you a whole lot. They just kind of put you in the world and go, go, go. And that's one of the big draws to Dark Souls for a lot of people, myself included. You get knocked. Oh gosh, he's immune! I forgot that these guys are immune when they're actually climbing up the ledges. That's funny. Because there's nothing more satisfying than like catching those guys before they can start climbing, and then they just fall to their immediate death. Like they die. Like these guys, for instance, you could just hit them here. They die before they even hit the ground, just from the sheer force of my mace hitting their knuckles. Ooh, ow! That's gonna cause a nasty burn. Get out of here, rubbish! What rubbish? I mean, it's literally right in the name there. Crap, man. There is actually a minor use for rubbish a little later in the game. Not going to worry about that for right now, though. I think this leads to... This is a humanity over here or something? I guess many of these you can get, because not only they're useful for healing, but they're useful for interacting with the multiplayer of this game, which we'll get into a little bit. I don't know exactly how I'm going to handle it necessarily all the time, but it's a huge aspect of Dark Souls, the multiplayer, so I would be it would be very ill of me to go through this game and not touch on that at all, at least. But for right now, we don't got to worry about it. Let's just worry about surviving as long as we can, getting these 3,000 souls to the merchant that I'm actually seeking out right now. It's not this dragon, though. Gosh, man. If I had been here 5 seconds earlier, I would have been a snack. I mean, I'm already a bit of a snack, just look at me, but... Oh, he got me. The big old leap attack. I mean, two can play that game, Buster. Oh, shoot, maybe not. Oh, maybe, though. That's what a backstab looks like, in case you're ever curious. Drink over his corpse, why not? Probably should actually use the heal miracle there, because the heal miracle is slow to use in combat. So I would like to save my... Pardon me, got a little something in my throat there. I'd like to save the Estus flasks for the middle of fighting if I can. Ooh, almost had me there. Oh gosh. The range on the mace does leave a little bit of something to be desired from time to time. You know, without your little cronies here to help you sort of flank, then there's nothing you can do with too much, Mr. Crossbow Man. Pop in here and grab a little wooden shield, which might be better than your starting shield, depending on who you started it as. I think it actually is a little bit better than my own starting shield, but I don't tend to use shields much in this game, to be perfectly honest, so not even going to worry about it. Got our first bonfire here. First bonfire of Undead Burg, anyway. Bonfires in this game are few and far between for the most part, so I would, I'm gonna rest here, I think, because I think you don't actually respawn here unless you rest here, so gotta make sure we reset that. But this does also come with the unfortunate cost of respawning all these enemies, so I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can walk real quietly. I'm hunting wabbits. I'm hunting hollows. Ooh, you're on the menu today, Mr. Crossbow Boy. Get yourself out of here, and your little friends, too. I don't think so. Be wary of projectile? Nah, man. You got nothing on me. Try switch. I don't even know what he's trying to say there. Might be a sexual thing, I'm not sure. More of a sub than a switch myself. That's probably a little too much information, isn't it? I digress, I digress. It's a Dark Souls. It's Dark Souls. It's an adult game for adult people. Get your shield out of here and get busted, please. Oh, gosh. Oh, go. Oh, no. I didn't expect. Normally, these guys don't attack, like, hardly at all. That's why you got to use the kick to try and raid them down. What are those? You guys, you gotta work out, gotta go, don't skip arm day so much next time. I mean, they're actually throwing them pretty far, from what I can tell, but not nearly far enough, unfortunately. They're hitting whoever's unfortunate enough to be down there in the streets. Well, come to that bridge when we, cross that bridge when we come to it, I should say. Watch out for this poor sucker back here. He actually has a chance of dropping a battle axe, which is, a weapon I wouldn't mind getting my hands on at some point. Be wary of rights. That's actually a pretty good note. I'd write that up if I could, but I don't have the orange guidance soapstone to do so yet. But I think that's imminent here.
Well now, you seem to have your wits about you, hmm? And you are a welcome.
I mean, at least have a really nice haircut.
Trade for souls. Everything's for sale.
All right, facade, you get yourself out of here. You got anything? Any interesting gossip around the burg, my friend?
Things are getting treacherous in these parts. A horrible goat demon has moved in below.
Oh, lovely.
And above, there's that humongous drake and
Yeah, I
a
saw that
bull
one.
demon too.
Not
If
that
you
one
stick
yet,
around
but
this place, it might end up being your grave.
well, that's the nice thing about being undead, my friend, is that we just keep coming and coming and coming, and just like the Energizer friggin' bunny. You got anything else for me?
I'm not here to chit chat.
Oh,
we
sorry.
Talk business, or we talk nothing at all.
All right, well, I saved up my souls for just such an occasion, so let's see what we got here. He does have some interesting things to pick up. I am going to buy this orange guidance soapstone, which lets me rate messages as well as leave my own messages if I want. The dried finger is useful for multiplayer purposes, but I'm not going to worry about it just yet because it's a little too expensive. I am going to buy the bottomless box here as well as the residence key. I'm not going to worry about that repair box, which is useful obviously for repairing armors and weapon yourself. Otherwise you have to take your stuff to a blacksmith in order to get it repaired. But he actually sells it for a little more than someone that we'll encounter later on, and we don't need it for now. He does have some interesting weapons and stuff here if you're interested in that sort of thing. The heater shield is actually a pretty good shield to pick up if you don't have one that blocks 100% of physical damage, as you can see this one does, because otherwise you're taking chip damage from every little sword strike that your shield takes. I think that's more or less all I need here, some chain armor, but I think my armor is just fine. It's, I mean, certainly not very defensible, but it'll do.
What a waste of time.
Excuse me?
Fall off a cliff.
I just gave you like 2,000 souls. What are you talking about? You absolute asshole. You know what? He doesn't have anything else I really want to buy. Forget this. Fuck this guy. You get out of here. He's a little bit more probably than I'm wait, Yulia? Excuse me, who's that? He can be a little bit of a tough foe if you're not well versed in the art of masonry, as I might not be enough apparently. Okay, we got him. Literally, oh, I hope that wasn't his daughter or something. We did get the dried finger for free out of that. I didn't realize that was a thing that happened. That's cool. And we got the Uchi Katana as well. He's guaranteed to drop that one. That's actually a very useful starting weapon if you're into a dexterity sort of build, which you might be. I'm not one to judge.